And I'm back, finally! I just thought I'd do an update video to explain what happened for those who don't know. So, last Thursday night, which would be Wednesday for those across the international dateline, my internet suddenly died. This has happened before, but it usually gets fixed within the day. This time, it didn't. And the next day it still wasn't fixed. And the next day. And the next day. To put it in perspective, my internet only just came back on yesterday. This is by far the biggest internet outage I've had in years. And the worst part was, it wasn't a problem on my end. It was my ISP in general. Everyone who was on the same ISP as me was down in my entire suburb. In fact, when we called them, they said that hundreds of customers all across Australia had internet down. Even some phone messaging services were down. My ISP has a page for outages, and it usually says when they're expected to fix it. Every day, it said they'd be expected to fix it at 8 PM, and every day, they failed to deliver. Clearly something very, very bad must have happened. Maybe a ship hit an underwater cable or something. Anyway, hopefully the internet will be back and here to stay for a while now. And I just want to reassure people that this doesn't always happen. I know that Australia's internet is terrible and I keep going on about that, but outages this long are very, very rare. So hopefully I won't have this long a period of inactivity in the foreseeable future. But I guess I could count myself lucky that it was just an internet outage, not a complete power outage, so I was actually able to record a bit more in this downtime. In fact, I've got quite a lot of backlog going. I've currently recorded all 50 battle CDs. So expect those to be going up pretty soon. I have a question to pose you all about the battle CDs, however. Battle CD 32 is the last of the puzzle-based CDs. From then on, all the battle CDs are basically just themed battles that don't really have any specific strategy to them. They don't teach you any particular lessons about the gameplay mechanics, and their difficulty in-game is listed as just dash. These CDs are a lot more open-ended, and you can really use whatever tactics you want. Because of this, as much as I know you've all loved the What Have We Learned and What's Changed segments, I feel like they don't make sense for most of these later battle CDs. So I'm heavily leaning towards not doing them. I am really struggling to think of things that I could put in some of these later ones, because like I said, these battle CDs really don't teach you anything. They're more like a place to use all the skills that you've learned from the earlier battle CDs. There are one or two that I feel do have lessons to teach, but as for the others, I think I'm going to drop those segments. Also, the videos are getting slightly longer when it comes to the later battle CDs, so that'll save on video time too. In addition to the battle CDs, I've actually gone ahead and done some test recording for some other possible future projects. I'll just get the more minor one out of the way now, because this won't be a project I'll be doing for a little while, but I did do a test record on Path of Radiance. Specifically, I wanted to figure out how it looks on the Corel VideoStudio free trial that I've got, whether the sharpen function works well on GameCube games, and whether Corel has better cropping abilities than Lightworks. I used this weird cropping system for both Persona 3 and Pokemon Colosseum and XD in Lightworks that's not so much of a crop as it is blowing up the video a bit, and it does cut off very slight parts of the screen. I am happy to announce that I've found a function of Corel VideoStudio that actually lets you crop videos properly, and it seems to work very well, so I'll be de-unlisting that video so you can all check it out. I did also do a test of the same footage on Lightworks, and I can definitely tell this editor looks better. It's a lot less blurry. I also test recorded Radiant Dawn, but I think I'm going to have to play around with settings there a bit more, since the English version, from what I remember, actually supports 1080p resolution. So I'll have to switch around my Wii's settings, which are currently optimized for recording GameCube games, to figure out how that'll work. The main things that I test recorded, though, are those two Switch projects that I considered doing as a bit of a side series, Super Mario Odyssey and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I decided to record essentially one video of each of those games, just to get a feel for which one I enjoyed recording more, and which one I felt would work better as a series. The results were interesting, and I think I actually have a clear winner here. As much as I like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and have a lot to say about its battle system and certain other mechanics, a few things immediately hit me when I started recording it. The first is that it's a little hard to make walking around towns and fields looking for landmarks and not doing much else all that interesting to watch. For my test record, I intended to record essentially everything in the Argentum Trade Guild up until you first get on the ship in Chapter 1. The entire recording session amounted to 50 minutes, and 30 of those minutes were just spent wandering around Argentum Trade Guild, ticking off things for the travel preparation story quest, as well as finding a few landmarks and showing off where some of the treasures are. It just didn't really feel like it'd be that enjoyable to watch. So I feel like if I did record this game, I'd need to figure out some kind of strategy as to how I handle exploration segments. But the other thing that hit me though, is just how daunting of a series this game would be. There is a lot to do in this one, and I'd probably be doing side quests as well as the main story. I'm only just at the very end on my first playthrough, and I've already put in 120 hours. It's just a really big game, and to do something like that as just a side series, I'm starting to feel like maybe that's not a good idea. So I'm now leaning much more towards Super Mario Odyssey. Though this game also has its fair share of downsides. The first was something that hit me while I was asleep one night that I didn't consider before, and I decided to quickly record a little bit of that game and upload it as unlisted just to test my theory. Sure enough, I was right. Mario Odyssey's music gets copyright claimed by Nintendo, so if I was to do a playthrough of this game, I wouldn't be getting a single cent from it and all the ad revenue would go to Nintendo. Now, I have promised that I would never become that guy. The person who boycotts games just because they're not profitable on YouTube. I want to do games because I want to record them, not because they'll earn me the most money. But there is the fact that I'm not working at the moment. I am trying to find employment, but I haven't had much success so far, so any amount of money really helps. Whether it's used to buy better recording equipment and editing software for the channel, games that I'll need to record, things like that. So, to have to put so much work into recording a game knowing that I won't be getting anything out of it is slightly disheartening. But despite that, I actually still am keen to do this game. There is a second downside though. Super Mario Odyssey is a game that autosaves, which, while normally great, is very annoying from a recording perspective, because it means if anything goes wrong with the recording or the footage corrupts, which actually happens for me quite often on my end, it's hard to go back and re-record. The closest solution I have to this is to keep a secondary file that's always played right up to the point where the primary file is, and from that file, if anything corrupts in the primary file, I can go and record that mood on the secondary file. Despite all this though, I do feel like I'll probably be going with this over Xenoblade Chronicles 2. In fact, I've already recorded about 3 videos worth of Odyssey. As for the answer, now that I've finished the battle CDs, I think I'll get started on doing tests for that soon. I'll need to play through the opening area a bit just to get a feel for what I want to say. But I will also want to test to see if my new editor can make the footage look better than it did on Lightworks. The answer is hopefully yes. Anyway, thank you all so much for your patience over my internet down period. It's really annoying for me because I promised that I would be more productive this month and, yeah, life just keeps getting in the way. It's really disheartening. But thank you for bearing with me, and I hope to see you soon for more videos shortly.